get a degree in a focused area, right? But does that make you all of a sudden knowledgeable in all these other areas? Just because you have a degree in that area, if you have a degree in nursing, if you have a degree in law, if you have a degree in education, if you have a degree in all of these other areas, does that make you knowledgeable in life? No, that makes you knowledgeable in the area that you went to school for. But true wisdom comes from you knowing and being able to give to others and learn from other people. God gives wisdom. I mean, that's the bottom line. And until you own that, until you own the fact that my wisdom comes from God, my wisdom comes from knowing who God is, you will always think you're less than those who have all these other things that the world says is important. So if I have a degree, but yet I don't have compassion, who am I as a person?
Right.
If I have a degree, but yet I can't listen to you because I feel like I'm so smart that I can't listen to you because who are you? What do you have? A 8th grade education? Oh, please, you don't have nothing to say to me. When the reality is educated, smart, wise people listen to whoever comes and has a conversation with them. And they
that's
could
part
pull
of being
from,
wise.
Exactly. And they could pull from that conversation. Like what you was just saying when we was driving. Someone who the world considers a bum, you know, someone who's homeless, you don't know anything about that person. You don't know how they got there. You don't know why they're homeless. You could just think that, oh, they're lazy. But you don't know they could have been the most educated person who had a mental breakdown because of the pressures of life. They could be the most educated person who has a mental illness and not getting a proper education. But you'll walk by them and look at them as being less than because they're not where you are. It's therefore but by the grace of God that we have a house that we live in, that we have a car that we drive. We do not know that if something happens to us so tragic that we will be out in the street because our mental capacity couldn't handle it anymore.
Yep. And that's what our topic is today. We was coming from the gym, and I asked my wife, I said, what's the difference between, we were talking about chasing and pursuing. But then we quickly changed over to what I heard this morning from KRS-One. He said, education is training, but wisdom is awareness. And we was just talking about how even the most educated people don't have awareness. And sometimes because of the perception of the world and how we're trained in the world, we think that because someone is less privileged that we can't learn from them. And the world tells you that your value is based on your education. And education is just training. Training is just something that you go through. But if training and your education doesn't give you awareness, then you don't really have anything to offer other people. And that's why we can have so many people, and some of the smartest people, some of the people who we say are the most intelligent people, are some of the people that just have the least amount of common sense because they are so built up on their education. But that don't mean that they're aware. So this was a conversation, dialogue that we were just having, and this is kind of like our typical mornings where we just kind of build on each other and we just talk about different things and different mindsets. And it's good to kind of like to really put things in perspective, you know. And people always say, and currently I'm in pursuit of a doctorate degree, and sometimes people look at it and say that's a big accomplishment, and it is, according to what the world says. But I always tell people my biggest education, the things that are most meaningful to me, are probably the things that I learned from my family, probably the things that I learned while I was young in the streets. Those things were real. Those things gave me an awareness. So I'm going through the process of being educated so that I could use my awareness more, because sometimes when you have that education, it just gives you a way to get your foot in the door. And there's a lot of people who are inside, but they can't stay there, or they're not relatable, but they're stuck because the world has told them that their their status depends on their education. But education doesn't mean wisdom, and that's one of the topics that we're talking about today.
Who are you once you remove that title from you? Who are you once you remove Michelle Candia master's degree, Michelle Candia doctorate degree, Michelle Candia associate degree? Who are you after that? If you remove those titles, who are you? And we're not saying education is bad, because look, everyone in my house is educated. All of them have degrees. I don't have degrees. I have certifications. But who are you without that? I know who I am even without any of that stuff.
Right.
So your confidence doesn't come in those things. Do not ever think that you're better than anyone because of what you have in this life materially. Always have the heart of compassion, of love, and seeing beyond yourself and beyond the material things that you possess.
Yep.
Because again, we talk like this because we've lived that life a little bit and we've experienced so much death in such a short amount of time. And every single one of those funerals that we went to of our family members, not one of them had the things that they possessed in this earth in that casket with them. Not one of them had a U-Haul truck behind them of furniture, of house, of Coach bags, of Louis Vuitton, of Lamborghinis, of any of that stuff. Enjoy that stuff while it's here and use it for what it's meant for, but never think that that is who you are.
Right. Exactly. And in the same way, we know people and we've been blessed to know people of all different walks of life, all different levels, statuses. We know doctors, we know lawyers, we know professional athletes, and we could all say that everyone experiences hardship.
Yep.
Everyone has to deal with real life.
Yep.
So your status doesn't depend on the amount of money you make or the possessions that you have or how much education that you have. You know, your status depends on who you are as a person and what you're able to give to others. And I'm glad that we have that understanding that we know that God gives us that.
Amen.
And God is the foundation. And you need to have a higher power to understand that. And you need to continue to build with people who are going to put you in a better place.
Amen.
All right. We're getting ready to start our day. This was our morning. We'll get ready to get out of the car, pardon the sweat and everything.
Me going to work.
Well, and I'm getting ready to start my day. So, guys, have a blessed day. And we'll talk to you soon.
Peace out from
Peace. The Candias.
the Candias.
Peace.